Hello, everyone, and welcome to Flickering Myth TV. My name is EJ Marino, and joining me is Alan Christian for another deep dive into a crazy subject. And this one's going to get interesting, I think.
Yeah, it might.
Yeah, I think so, because we're coming at this as a non-fan and a fan of something, as someone who's super, super casual, to someone who I didn't know that this was in your fandom, but we're talking about Bond. There is the conclusion to Bond coming soon. I don't want to date this.
Eventually.
Yeah, I don't want to say like it's coming out this date and then it's moved for the 50
Yeah.
millionth time. So it's coming out eventually. It would be the end of the Daniel Craig
hmm
era, and that's sad for some people. I think in general it's a very big staple of the 2000s for me. So for it to end, I would be like, oh, that's an era that's gone.
He is the longest running James Bond.
Which is I mean that's by his choice, I think. For let's draw me coming back to these movies each time out, and only has made it
Yeah.
longer for each film as well, which
Yeah.
will play into my suggestions. So for this, I wanted to go deep dive. This was suggested by Gary, who is the big runner of Flickering Myth, and he said, "Hey, talk about Bond and what we want to see for the seventh version of Bond," which I didn't know we would be on our seventh incarnation of all of this as well, which is so crazy that this is that long. I mean, there's still more doctors from Doctor Who, but we're coming up with Bonds. So yeah, I'm going to pitch my Bonds. You're going to pitch your Bonds. We're going to be coming up with a director and a Bond actor. If you have a villain in mind, Alan, please share a villain. There's so many great actors we could use for these movies. I don't
Yeah.
know. God, I have a couple. Maybe Christoph Waltz in a good role. I'd love to see that. But yeah, so I'm going to kick it off by giving my my not so Bond proper. I
Okay.
have what I've labeled the posh Bond, which is more what I think of traditional Bond, and
hmm
I'm stripping Bond down. I'm doing a gritty version. I know everyone hates that word, but more. I want to do more in the vein of a Jack the Ripper, smalling down, like making the scale a little bit smaller for these things, a little bit more English based, and a more dirty, grimy, the streets. This is a Bond that is a little bit different than everyone else. So that's my first pitch. It's Lynn Ramsey as the director. She has directed the only good Joaquin Phoenix movie in the last decade, You Were Never Really Here,
Okay.
which is such a good film. If you've never seen that movie, go out of your way to see it. It's Joaquin doing a good movie. Director. And also, she directed We Need to Talk About Kevin a couple years
hmm
ago with Ezra Miller and Tilda Swinton. Very
Okay.
good film. She is an English director. She would be the first female Bond director as well, so we can check that little box off. My Bond for her, all right, two choices. You're going to hate this one, and I'm sorry, Tom Hardy, to go with my dirty, grimy, non-posh vibe,
Uh-huh.
or
I
Luke
hate that one.
or Luke Evans,
Oh,
who
I hate that one more.
oh no! Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, never mind. I didn't think you would hate Luke Evans more. But yes, they both have my aesthetic here. They're not as pretty as the normal Bonds. They're a little bit
Hmm.
rough. I want to set them in the streets. They're looking for a more, I don't want to say a serial killer because that feels so small scale, but someone
hmm
who's been like a Jack the Ripper, a very infamous killer, a Zodiac, a Seven kind of vibe. That's kind of what I want to
hmm
do with him. I want to get down to some really cool spy work, but some more. Oh God, this is just me wanting a good Batman movie where there's detective work. I want to see
yeah.
Bond be a detective at times. I want to see him actually not just be sexy to do stuff, find clues, get down in the streets, maybe fight a little bit more as well. That's kind of what I want from my vibe. I know you hate my Bonds, so dive into why you hate my Bonds.
One. Uh, I mean, I don't like Luke Evans. I just don't like. I don't think he has negative charisma.
Oh, he was so good as Gaston in Beauty and the Beast. Um,
Okay.
but yes, no, I like him in the Fast and Furious movie he was in. But he isn't that great. Damn it. But he's really, really my aesthetic that I would want. Also, he would be the first gay Bond as well, so yay for that. But
Okay.
yeah,
But yeah.
yeah, not alone. And then Tom Hardy. He would talk at least in this movie and not have a mask and not a voice.
Um, I love Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy's just a little too trashy.
See, and that's what I really, because I think my other pick, I have a rag to riches Bond I would be pitching.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll get to that because that has a whole different director as well. But I like the idea of making Bond not as pretty and not as clean as he has always been.
Yeah,
I
but
think
I think
had
Craig toes that line. Like
yes, and
Craig is an ugly man, but like so ugly that he doubles back to being attractive.
Rachel Weisz disagrees with you. I guess leaving that other relationship, anyone would look sexy after that.
No, I mean I'm not. No, I do think he's an attractive man,
Yeah.
but in just like this ugly,
he's a
like
to him.
rugged way.
Yeah.
But so I think we've towed that line.
Okay,
with Craig.
so I jumped the line. I went to a whole different route. Now,
Tom Hardy's too old too.
yes, I didn't realize how old he was until I Googled him. Both him and Luke Evans, though my other person is much younger, and I can't wait to dive into that. Do you have another, do you have two, or should I just do both of mine real quick?
Yeah, just to go ahead and do both of yours.
Okay, because that one, you didn't like that one as much. Here, okay. This is my real Bond proper. Director, Steve McQueen. English Steve McQueen, not old man Steve McQueen that's dead.
Yeah, he's dead. He can't do anything.
But no, Steve McQueen, who's a great director. He recently went into Widows, which was a little bit more action-based. So I think he can dip into that. My Bond, we're doing Steve McQueen, a black director. I'm going Black Bond. I'm not going for the typical. John Boyega. I think what I wanted for my John Boyega Bond is someone who is from the streets, who is a little bit more rough around the edges. I love what he did on Attack the Block. I think that aesthetic would be so good. This sounds a little Kingsman, I know, sorry. But I want to see him. I've never felt like I've seen a Bond start and go through being a baby Bond to now maturing, and he could be in this franchise for a decade. And I can see him go to establish where we normally start off with Bond, but I want to see him early Bond. And I know I could be wrong, and please tell me where I can go see like a baby Bond, like growing into the role as opposed to kind of being more established. But I think John Boyega would be a great choice. It's so different than the tired Idris Elba for Bond, which he's great. Would be a great pick, but Idris has said, please stop pitching me. Everyone hates me because of it.
It just would have been great 15 years ago. He's too old. I mean, Craig did the baby Bond through now. Okay. I mean, it may not feel like it, but Craig was like 34, 35 in Casino Royale.
Now, when he gets into the Bond role, though, wasn't he already established in the MI as, like, I'm trying to go back to Casino Royale. I felt like he wasn't new into that.
I mean, we see him become 007 in Casino
yes.
Royale.
Okay, yeah.
He gets his first 2 kills in the beginning.
Oh, which, man, I really like Casino Royale.
Casino Royale's great. It's my favorite Bond movie.
It makes me kind of giddy because it's so weird. Like, it's a weirdly filmed movie. Like, it's so different at times than all the rest. I really like that, which I think what Steve McQueen could do. I think Steve McQueen is, one of the best picks for a Bond director. He's English, so he has that background. He's a very prestige filmmaker. It's not like we're getting Cary Fukunaga, who, isn't, like, established, very big director where we think of.
Yeah.
I want to see someone like a Steve McQueen come in and just actually, or Danny Boyle, or, anyone that Danny Boyle toes the line of prestige and trash sometimes, which I like about him.
Yeah.
We all like about him, but
he had his shot.
yeah, I really think McQueen would be good. I think he's a fresh mind in that industry, and I want to give him a Black Bond because I want to see an English actor, a black actor, play Bond eventually. Why the hell not?
Yeah.
And I think Boyega, I thought Daniel Kaluuya for a while. I think he doesn't have the charm that I think John Boyega could pull off. I think John Boyega could look so good in that suit, charming the hell out of the ladies, being kind of cute and different about it. I think he would bring a different energy to Bond. What do you think about him as it?
I like what I've seen of John Boyega, but I haven't seen enough of him, and I certainly haven't seen him acting with an English accent, because for some reason, even though he was playing a stormtrooper from space, he had to have an American accent in Star Wars.
Rey was allowed to keep her accent.
Yeah.
Her accent was weird. I think Daisy Ridley has an odd accent that feels very neutral at times, but
yeah.
He, I've seen him in Attack the Block, which if you haven't seen, very good sci-fi action movie. so cool. It's very street. It's like, it's just a bunch of like hood kids just like finding their way into an alien invasion and being like, what the hell do we do here? Like, just like his quotes in that are so good. And I think he has a charm to him that I think this all kind of does follow, seeing him in the protests recently in those photos. He just has such a power to him, and just like his activism. I think you could really bring a different side to him. But I want to see where yours are, because I want to see if you went young at all, or if I went too young with John Boyega and you found that perfect middle. Because I went too old with Hardy, too young with Boyega. What's your middle? I have to know, because you're the Bond, I would say, super fan here, at least out of us two.
Yeah.
A lot about it.
I have a few choices, but none of them make me like. None of them are something I really want to see. Yeah. Really, what I think I don't know who I want to be Bond yet. I think they're going to end up casting somebody that I'm just like, who is that? Or really? Like, if I know who they are, just be puzzled by it.
I get a BBC TV actor that I don't know. And has that ever happened in Bond? Has Bond been... Because Craig was established, I think, lightly before Bond. I don't think he was like a huge name. And Pierce Brosnan was a name before as well.
He did Remington Steele. Dalton was established.
Like, maybe Connery? Because,
Connery was nobody before Bond. And Lazenby was like had been in like some Australian commercials.
What is he? That's interesting, because I think that could go a great route, is like, we don't know who the next Bond is, because it should be someone that we're like, introduce me to somebody new, give me a new name.
There's people that I would like to see do it. Like, I really think Fassbender would have made a great Bond, but I think he's a little too old now. He's in his mid-40s, and that's not too old to play Bond, but it's probably too old to start. I think mid-30s is what you really want.
And can we not just do a one-off, or maybe a two-off? I guess in the era of now, everything has to have 8 movies attached to the franchise. But
we can. One-off. We can do some Dalton again. Dalton was a little older. They had tried to get him when he was younger, and he himself felt that he was too young for the role.
Steve McQueen directing Michael Fassbender.
I could get
that's
behind.
A pair. Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a good movie. I would see, even if they don't do a Bond movie, but it's like a Bond ripoff. It's like a action movie with a suave British guy. I'm watching the hell out of that movie.
Yeah. You know who I would? There's a few directors that I would like to see tackle it. But people talk about Christopher Nolan doing it. I think he could do a great job with it. Not something I'm super.
Ooh, do you know what he can't do though?
What?
Sex. I don't think Nolan can do. Not that Bond is what he was back in the 70s. Nolan could never do a 70s Bond. Like, he would be so lost in that pure, gross misogyny. But now with how they're shifted with the women characters, I don't know if he could do the femme fatales, because also he struggles with female characters. And Bond movies, as much as we know what they've evolved into, Bond women are awesome. Like, they are. Yeah. Minus getting Monica Bellucci and doing nothing.
I think he could play to the tropes just fine. I wouldn't want to see him scripted. That's for sure.
But imagine Jonathan Nolan doing it, and it's just a weird sci-fi Bond.
I don't want that either.
I was gonna say, not a Moonraker fan.
I am, but I don't want Jonathan Nolan's type of stuff. But no, McQueen is a good pull. I would love to see that. If he would have the interest, he probably would. He seems like
one of those guys who, again, would get to a franchise and almost Rian Johnson subvert it, but in good ways. I think he would be a good. I'm glad you liked that pick there, because he's strong and could do any people you've even mentioned or you even thinking could probably direct them.
Yeah. You mentioned Rian Johnson. I would like to see that. Throw some hate comments below, but
oh no, I'll get the hate comments. I want to see him and Craig team up for a Bond parody. Like, I want them to see them just kind of poke fun at it, which I feel like he kind of does with his character in Knives Out, is like this I'm the complete opposite of Bond, but I still
Mhm.
feel like it. Like I still feel
Yeah.
Benoit can like kill somebody. Like I don't
Yeah.
trust that crazy. Um,
But
you know who
somebody that I
Kenneth
really
Branagh direct? James
Oh
Bond?
yeah, I could get behind that. Kenneth Branagh, yeah.
He's so. I mean, I just watched Artemis Fowl. He's so hit or miss, though.
Oh, did he direct that?
Yeah,
Oh,
I know.
oh
And
no.
like Judy Dench is in it. Like it's legit. Sometimes I worry about these people that I
But
like.
like, yeah. But like, I liked. I mean, I didn't overall like really love it, but I liked his direction on the Poirot movie he did,
Oh, Murder
the
on the Orient
Murder on
Express.
the Orient Express. Yeah,
I enjoyed that more than I thought I would, which
yeah,
says a lot about that movie because I went in with like zero God,
yeah. It's
Johnny
insane.
Depp, blah blah blah. But I liked it.
Yeah, it's not mind blowing, but I think his direction on that is good, and I think that could translate into a good Bond film.
Oh God, he's
Um,
gonna play Bond.
I would be behind him playing M. That'd be great.
He would be a fun like side villain to that. Like
Oh yeah, he could do
he has
that.
a
Yeah.
Sean Bean quality to him, which I love. Sean
Hmm.
Bean as a Bond villain. I underrated Bond villain in my eyes because he's so
Oh
fun.
yeah, one of my favorites.
He's so good.
Yeah, a director that I think, really would have the sensibility to do a Bond film and make it something visually interesting and just a fantastic spy film is Ridley Scott.
Ooh, ooh, man, God, a director I really like, but sometimes I don't trust Ridley Scott. But
Yeah, you know.
you literally used one of his films as a reference point with Seven earlier from my other one in that thing, and I would love him to go back to like Seven or even like some things of Fight Club, where I love the way like he would do Street sometimes and just like the outdoor aesthetics. It's dark, it's rainy, his color palette. No, not really. Sorry, I was thinking Fincher. No,
Yeah, that's Fincher.
Fincher's my pick. Sorry, he was my other pick for a while. No, no,
Mhm.
again, going back to like Ridley Scott, I just don't know. God, I go back to like Robin Hood, and I go back to like so many of these other movies. And, like I
Think
like
about like
his
his
aesthetic for Prometheus and stuff is interesting, and he can make this look like Nolan-y, so big and high scale.
Yeah, I mean he could shoot the shit out of some big exotic locations,
Oh
and
man,
if I don't know if you've ever seen, it's not like an amazing movie, but Body of Lies, like
yes.
that has like that intrigue and that pacing, like he could do something like that.
And look, just to keep Ridley Scott tame, we can give him Fassbender, do an older Bond, a one-off. Don't give him multiple movies.
Sure.
I don't want him to
I don't
stretch
think he
the
would do multiple
universe.
movies. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't want him to do a universe because then it's going
no,
to be like, and here's how Bond connects to Prometheus. I'm good. I'm
yeah.
I
Well,
skip.
one of my problems with the Nolan suggestion is that he would only do one movie probably,
I don't. Yeah, I
and then
guess.
if you have him set the tone and then you follow it up, nobody's gonna do a Nolan thing for the second one.
I mean, literally, he handpicked Zack Snyder for Man of Steel, and literal did not go the way he followed. Started up with the Dark Knight movies. So yeah, I don't trust him to like start something and then just go like, yay, here's my next pick. Because I would love to see like he's done with the new DC movies. He's executive produced a lot of them. His name's
Hmm.
attached to Batman v Superman, Man of Steel, and things like that.
Hmm.
I just don't know if he would be able to set it up, which makes me think of a J.J. Abrams. Not that I want him to like direct this, but like in that way where like I don't trust J.J. to set something up and then lead other people down that route. I don't know if Nolan could be that guy, and I don't want to keep bashing Nolan because I actually thought you would pick him. Like I really thought that he could be.
I mean, I'm not picking him. I would love to see him do a Bond film. I don't want him to bring Tom Hardy into it. I mean, unless he makes Tom Hardy the villain.
Okay.
That I could get behind. I could
Now,
get behind a Tom
we
Hardy
checked out
villain.
some of your directors. Who are some people you also want to see as Bond? You give me a couple, but do you have any more? Because I do like Fassbender, and I'm down for Steve McQueen Fassbender. Like that's
Yeah,
in
that'd be
my
great.
head, and I like that.
Yeah, I would love to see that. It's dumb and probably won't happen now because he's Batman, but Pattinson.
Pattinson would have been so good, especially after I saw him in the Tenet trailers.
Hmm.
I think if we just sleek back his hair a little bit more, make him a little bit more clean, and it's already the visual I like for him. I think once we see him as Bruce, I think the Batman or the Bond conversations will pop up. Once we see him very clean cut and posh, I think because again, I really feel like this, what Matt Reeves is doing is making a very English Batman movie, just choosing to film in the UK, the vibe that they're going for with Pattinson, the cast and everything. I feel it's going to have what I wanted with my Lynn Ramsey kind of Luke Evans one, where it's darker in the streets. And I look forward to Batman movie being probably one of the cooler Bond movies recently. I feel that coming. I feel it's going to have a very Bond quality as well. And Matt Reeves would be a really good pick as well. I love him, and not, going from Planet of the Apes to Batman to Bond would be insane, but he's a very talented guy.
Yeah, he's probably going to keep himself in the Batman trenches for a little while. But
we haven't seen the movie, but I would hope it's good. I like him a lot. I think especially if he can get a good trilogy out of him, I would even accept a Joker from that man. If it's good, give me 1 or 2 movies. But do you have other picks, or do you have any villains? Like, do you have a Bond villain in mind that you would be good? Because Hardy would be fun.
Hardy would be a very fun villain. I don't know. I mean, you can do all sorts of different people. I was going to the first person that popped into my mind just now was Javier Bardem, and I was like, oh, he already did it.
Have there ever been a primary female villain?
Yeah.
Okay, because I feel like there's potential to have like a Tilda Swinton, not just her specifically, but an established older English woman face off with Bond. I would love that, because it's not like Bond fist fights all his main villains. Like, you don't have to. Like, even like Rebecca Ferguson, who I love. I think she is so good.
Can't put a face to that name right now.
She's in Mission Impossible. I believe she's also in Doctor Sleep. She's like the weird witch lady in that movie.
That's not helping.
She's really good. She's has a very good look to her. She's in the newer. I don't know if you watch any of the Mission Impossibles, but she's in that cool like theater shooting scene, and she's like up there fighting.
I haven't seen any of those since the first couple, so
good.
I
would like to see a female eventually take on a Bond main villain, because I can't think of one like as the the Blofeld, as the all that, maybe a side villain, but I go to Grace Jones and stuff, but Christopher Walken's the main villain.
I mean, usually when you get a female main villain in Bond, like, you had a male villain that was like the distraction, and then you found out that this woman was really behind it. That's happened a few times.
I think, I mentioned it for a Bond for Steve McQueen, but Daniel Kaluuya, he's so good in Get Out. He's so good in Widows. He's a supporting like villainous role in that. So good. He's so creepy, and like there's a scene on the basketball court where like, it's creepy. You should just see him in that movie for his stuff alone, just because it's like, ooh, he's good. And I mean, he's so distractingly good looking. I think in Get Out, some of the scenes where it's just on his face that I'm like, oh, he could make me cry as a villain, even like just the trouble he could feel and all that. I think he would be fun, and he's English, so yay for him.
Yeah.
I'm just trying. I want to keep it English because that is so iconic to that, and I know people have suggested American actors for these and all that. I think they can do it and or act it, but I don't know. I think they have enough struggle sometimes pitching black guys. let me not just pitch like, dude, Michael B. Jordan. Like, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about for Bond specifically, I think Bond has to be English. Like, I mean, British at least. I think we've only had 2 like technically English Bonds, being Craig and Moore.
I would have loved if he could have grew into it. It's like a Daniel Radcliffe. I think that could have been such a fun adult role. I feel like aesthetically he has not aged in what I thought my Bond would look like, or even what I thought he would look like. But yeah, I wanted someone to see. We were talking about a name, and you kind of mentioned that earlier of like him. I think Pattinson would have been a really good choice for Bond, but he's playing Batman, which is so similar to that role in many ways of like, you can't do both.
Yeah, I don't think you can do both.
Yeah, which like again, Bale would have been good at a point. Yeah, he's one that I don't think anyone. I don't remember him being pitched in the Daniel Craig era when we were like, oh, who should be? I wonder why. Other than he's a problem.
Well, he was already Batman, and I don't know. I mean, I think his heyday of when he could have done that was right in that. And most Americans did not think of Christian Bale as English.
Yes.
Or he's Welsh.
Well,
They didn't think of him as a British man. Like, so I think a lot of people were
like,
were
oh, his accent's so weird. It's like, no, that's just how he sounds.
yeah.
No, he does his own weird UK accents at times too, where I'm like, Bale, who are you doing today? Like, another English person that I think is different for a villain I would love is Riz Ahmed. He was in Rogue One. He's been in other things as well. He was kind of he literally says the iconic, oh, I'm in Rogue One. I forgot his role in that movie. He's been someone I would have loved as a villain because there's something about him that I think is really good. They were pitching him for Aladdin for a while, and he's like, wrong nationality, my friends. I'm not that. I don't know. I want to see something interesting coming from this because we're going to a new era of Bond. I want it to feel like a new era of Bond, and that doesn't mean change it up completely, but I want it to feel like we're not just doing. We need to attract a younger audience to Bond. I think we're going to lose that eventually, and I think casting a younger actor would save that. And I want to see your age when you originally fell in love with it. I don't know if that's happening with these Daniel Craig movies. I want that to happen, and that's not saying Marvel these movies up, but there has to be a way to attract, like Nolan does.
Yeah. I mean, you got to bring in somebody younger. You know who would be good? Maybe not the greatest choice in the world, but I think Kit Harington has the look and could pull that off.
There was another, I believe, Welsh actor that has been pitched a lot as Richard Madden.
Yeah,
Rob
I
Stark.
can get behind that. Yeah,
he's very good looking.
He's got the look.
He has the look. I would have loved Taron Egerton, but he got stuck in the Kingsman stuff, and I don't think you can go from Kingsman to
You can't go from that to
that. You ain't going to it, sorry. And same with Colin Firth. Like, it would have been a great in the Bond, like an M or something like that would have been really fun, but if you got stuck in the Kingsman movies. But yeah,
I'm glad he got stuck there.
Yeah, I like him, but
I don't.
Richard Madden would be a really fun choice. He's different. He's really popular. He would be that one, I think, that you mentioned earlier, and even I felt I wouldn't have thought about him because he came so late in this conversation that he could be a really good pick, and he's young-ish.
Yeah, I think that's a good pull. He's still in his 30s, right?
Yeah, like he's like mid-30s, like maybe not shouldn't even be near 40 yet, but yeah, I think he could do so well. And you made me think of it with Kit Harington. I was like, no, let's just shift it over from Game of Thrones.
I try not to look at my phone on the videos, but I am going to look this up.
No, Richard Madden is worth it.
Let's see.
I also find him incredibly charming.
He's 33. He's perfect age.
Oh my God, he is perfect. Because what would be, by the time we would start it, let's say another 3 more years, he would be 36. Like, that is perfect. Like,
yeah. I think that's actually that's the call there.
Yeah, give me Richard Madden and Steve McQueen as the director. I think would be God, or him and Nolan. Nolan would do well with someone like him. I think.
Yeah.
I think hopefully, all right, Bond fans, let me know down in the comments below. What do you think of Richard Madden? Like, I can't believe he came so late, but even I looked him up and I was just like, ooh, that face.
Because I just looked at it because I haven't really seen him outside of Game of Thrones. So I was like, because he has a lot of facial hair in that. I was like, he's probably got the jaw under there. He sure as hell does. So
I don't know, and even the facial hair would be, again, that's just small changes that I know. I think beards can be a lot more posh than they once were, and I think he could. He could pull off a nice bearded Bond, which would be aesthetic so different for what they look like, and still hot, and still, I can take him seriously. Yeah. Damn it. All right, Bond fans, really, truly, I hope we can put this out into the universe. Maybe give Richard Madden an audition. But yes, all right, guys, comment down below. Let me know what your picks for a Bond director and a Bond actor. Even throw in some villains, because this is a really fun conversation. I didn't even think as a non-Bond fan I would have this much fun. So thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. This is my wheelhouse.
yes. Obviously, you came in this with prepped, and I was just like, this is all Alan. I pitched this to you, and you were like, yes. I am down.
I didn't come in prepped, but I knew I had it in me.
All right, guys, comment down below. Make sure you guys subscribe to Flickering Myth because I make videos like this every single week. And give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy this video. All right, everyone, let's talk about Bond down below.